Let's talk about your general approach to improvising. Some people always play worked out parts.
Sure.
Some players never work out parts.
Sure.
Let's stay away from the instrumental right now, because I know sometimes we do work those out from beginning to end. But your approach to soloing, you already mentioned singing. When you're improvising, are you trying to keep your mind just totally clear, or you play a lick and you think, oh, I'll repeat that, I'll move away, I'll come back and maybe add a little texture? What's your approach to improvising?
It just depends on the day. And some days I'm rigid, some days I'm loose. These days I'm playing a fair bit, so I try to experiment in various different ways. So one of the things I might do if I'm singing the same song night after night, I'll change the position of the harmonica. If I'm playing a song in A 3 nights in a row, I'll probably play it in second one night, first the other night, or third. So right away, you've really changed how you improvise on it, and you kind of have to make it happen.
Cool.
I'll try to make sure I don't start on the same note or the same hole or with the same lick.
From chorus to chorus.
From chorus to chorus.
Okay.
Or sometimes for a song, you tend to have a static approach. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes you should have a static thing that kind of is a hook in your solo.
That makes that song
That makes
thematic.
that song, exactly. But, like I said, if I'm experimenting, these are the things I do. I'll change whether I'm playing acoustic or amplified on that song. I'll change the way I think. Instead of thinking of licks, I'll think in terms of holes. Like you had an exercise a long time ago that I sucked at. I really sucked at this one. Terrible. Where Dave would say, okay, let's improvise over just the first 2 holes or the first 3 holes. And because I was terrible at that, once in a while I go back to doing that on stage. And I'll say, I'm just going to keep the solo simple and do that. And in a weird way, that actually has a musical value, because it's just simplified the whole thing. So I've been doing that. One of the things that came to mind is Kim Wilson had told me this a long time ago when I asked him about these old bootleg T-Bird recordings that I was listening to from the mid-'70s. And the cool thing about it was Kim Wilson was playing instrumentals, 3 instrumentals in a set. None of the licks were copied or derived. They were him, And I asked him, I said, back in the 70s, you were that good. Where was this coming from? And he said something that made me happy. He said, I would hum this stuff if I was walking down the street. And if I thought I hit something cool, I'd record it. And then I'd make that mine. I'd make that part of my vocabulary. So that's something I've been doing a little bit as well. There's some licks I think I play either stupidly or intentionally that have become mine. And so I tend to repeat them. And lastly, I also, again, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, I'll take a well-established lick, a little Walterism or whatever, and tweak it just a little bit differently every time to add variety to the solo.
Cool. So early on, you're saying that if you have a good night, then you're going to be more adventuresome.
Yeah.
If you're not having such a good night, you're going to play it safer.
Safer.
Got it.
If I have a big audience, I'll play it safe sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if the audience is reacting to you and you feel like,
Just
yeah,
go
they're
for it.
with me, then you go for it, and you might extend your range or change the positions. When you're working on an instrumental, are you taking some of those licks that you thought were cool, and then do you work with repetition to create chorus forms and stuff?
Not anywhere close to as good as you, I think. I think you're very intellectual about it, and I wish I was. What I tend to do is I let my soloing just flow. And if I think it's flowing in the right direction, I'll hold on to those 2 choruses and say, okay, this order seemed good when I played it. Let me try and repeat it. It won't repeat the same way, but it comes close. I think I did that on the one instrumental we did on It Takes 3 called Bombay Stroll. I didn't play it the way I kind of maybe had played it before, but the general idea and the general chorus forms were laid out in my head. And I knew how I was going to start every chorus. And also, I think I saw Mark Hummel do this many years ago, and I kind of liked it. He would, at the end of a chorus form, he would lay out an idea, either on the turnaround or right before the turnaround, that became the theme of the next one.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a cool way to go about it, too. And
First time I heard someone bring that up was Rod Piazza in a workshop. 3 days, first 2 days, I'm telling about the chorus forms and the
Yeah.
different soloing themes and such. And on the third day, all the students kind of went to their own little corner and worked on their ideas from what they've learned to create their own instrumental. And at the end, they played it for myself. Mark Hummel was there, Rod Piazza, and John Garcia was playing guitar with them. And one of my students played their instrumental, and Rod said, "Get rid of your turnarounds. You're too good to be playing turnarounds. So you can either just not play them or use it as a pickup to the next chorus," which I knew about those.
Pickup, yeah.
Yeah, the thing I didn't know about, he says, "Or start your next chorus early."
Yeah.
And he wasn't sure exactly what he meant. And I don't think I completely understood what he was saying. 5, 4, and instead of using that as a big pickup, which we know is a cool thing, or a turnaround, he actually would use those 2 bars to play a cool lick, and then he would repeat it in the first 2 bars of the next chorus, and then the 3rd and 4th bar, and that way, in his own words, you're blurring the line between the choruses instead of having da 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 da.
Exactly.
Da 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 da. So instead of having individual solos, you have something that feels like it's really
flowing.
Yeah. So it's cool to hear you bring that up, because when Rod brought that up, I'm like, I want to experiment with that one.
Yeah.
Good tip. Thanks for that one. I want to jump back a little bit to improvising. You mentioned the song Bomb Based Roll.
Yeah.
And in there, you had to have some really, you're emphasizing like the 5 blow and the 2 blow.
2 blow and 5 blow, because I think that's the 6th,
Yeah.
right? And if you're playing second.
Or the 13th, if you're thinking
the
about
13th,
your
right.
stack of chords.
Right.
So there's an emphasis, whether it's conscious or not, and that's why I'm asking you, was it conscious?
It was conscious because the backing to me had a feel that had to go boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. It's not boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. It's not that. It's not the blues thing. It's a little more, it's a little prettier, a little happier, a little more swampier. Swamp blues kind of feel, whatever you want to call it. And to me, if that's your backing, then you can play and lean on those notes. And I kind of did that a fair bit, I think, on Bomb Based Roll.
Yeah, it's a hip thing. I think that's one of the things that I enjoy, that use of the 2 blow or 5 blow as not just a note in the run. 5 drop, 5 blow. Well, that 5 blow is just between the 5 draw and the 4 draw, right? So we have this typical passing down, and it's a good note, but you're presenting that note. It's now kind of a little bit jazzy sounding.
Yeah, it's very jazzy over the one. And one of the things I learned from you was on the 4 you can do the 2 blow, right? And let's see if I can think of this. It's the 3 of the 4 chord, right?
Correct.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, I did.
I totally ignored
it. I said it quietly.
Okay, cool. So, that's one of the reasons why I started even exploring that kind of approach. Is adding a harmony is a cool way to keep things the same, but still mess them up a little bit over chord change. So
here's your quiz. What's 2 blow on the 5 chord?
God damn it, Dave. So let me do this slowly and calmly.
Okay.
So if I'm holding a C harmonica, which I'm not, but let's pretend I am.
We will pretend.
5 chord is a D, and 2 blow is an E. So it's the 2 of the 5 chord.
Yeah, or the 2 down here, or what up there?
The 9th?
The 9th. Good.
Yes. This is why I graduated, ladies.
Yeah, so it's neat to think about how you have root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, our typical blues chord. And if you continue on, so root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th, 9th, 11th, 13th, D, F, A. You just have the scale.
Yep.
But by presenting that note, what's the difference between it just being part of the scale or being an 11th, 13th, or a 9th, 11th, or 13th? The difference is playing it in passing, it's just a scale tone.
Sure.
Or by emphasizing it, you're telling the listener that 2 blows the 9th right now.
Right.
Because I'm presenting that
Like
as a
that.
chord tone.
Right.
Yeah. And as you brought up, one of the neat things is when a player who's schooled in the tradition takes little ideas like that and presents that in the traditional sound. That's one of the things that I love about your playing. It's what I loved about William Clark's playing. It's what I love about Rod's, and all the players, Mitch Cashmore, for example,
Yeah.
we've had the opportunity to play with, and all the players, come to mind that they're doing something a little bit more than just the traditional sound, but still within the idiom, so it doesn't get too far out there. Anyways, we all need friends to be able to play something we think is innovative and say, is that innovative or weird? Have you ever used that phrase to a buddy?
I don't say it explicitly, but
You play it and you look?
I look.
Okay, you didn't look at me weird. I guess it was okay.
Kid, are you gonna play on this, please? So this is gonna be key of E, and wrong, and it's a stroll, and the bass line I told Mike was boom, 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 boom. So can we come in? Everybody comes in except me for about 4 bars, and then I'll come in. That's where the 12 bar starts. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That tempo and feel was cool, and I liked what you were doing, Marty. I know you switched up a few things, but just play it by ear. I generally like what you were doing. I hated all of it. I just don't know any other way.
It's like General Chicken.
I want a specific chicken on that song. Hey, Anderon. Can you play anything majory to? Because I'm playing a lot of majory shit.
You want me to play more majory?
Was that?
Okay.
Is there like a majory set of chords you could pre-play?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And yes. Yes. All right. Do we want to do this again?
So let's do it again. You want us to just stay on the one for 4 bars till you
Yes, can we do that? Can we stay on the one for 4 bars till I come in?
Yes.
Alright, so here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. That felt good.